Hey YouTube, had a wee bit of a brainstorming session last night. I finally decided I was going to give it a go and try LD, see what it was like, and actually have to admit it's pretty good. I was kind of expecting it to be, I bought it probably, getting old now, 20 years ago or something. I remember it in the studio one time in the salt market and buying a half bottle, and this stuff was like petrol, and I tried to drink it about 10 times. You know, like I tried it at the studio, it was up here at the gig bag, and then it sort of sat in my room, and every now and again, like, you know, you'd run out of bucky, you know, it's like 1 in the morning, like, I'll have a wee, stuff was like petrol. That's not. They've changed the recipe significantly. I'm pretty sure it used to be 17.5% as well. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I've invented a new switch for this Westfield that I did a video for yesterday. And I don't know whether it was maybe because I was drinking the LD, I was talking to my pal, tried to call it the toebash, which is a word that I've not heard since I was about 10. I kind of like it because it kind of sounds like, it could almost be like a Japanese term, toebash, couldn't it? Is that not Star Trek? Is it not it's the Kabashi Maru test or whatever it is in Afrikaan? So it's kind of going that way. Yeah, so everything, it's a 3-way switch, and in the middle position everything's just the same as it was, so this should be sounding exactly the same as it was yesterday, since I don't think I've touched any of the amp settings. So position 1 bridge, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so that's us in the neck position. If you pull this switch up, it's basically, I've been calling it a Gilmore switch. What it does is it hot wires the bridge pickup to the output of the switch, which means that when you push it up, instead of just having when you're in the neck position, you get the neck position and the bridge position. So I'll turn it off then turn it on. So that's now the outside too. So I've also been calling it Telecaster. Yep, so maybe I should have that on just now. Turn it back on once I've run through the other sounds. So in the neck position with this switch up, you get the outside 2. You put it into position 4. That's actually all 3 pickups on, which it's an extra sound. I don't know. Do you that? So that's the normal position 4. That's adding in the bridge. Not making a huge difference, but I suppose you can argue that it's a bit different. Yeah, but that's not the toebash element, that's just a Gilmore switch, which is what I was going to put in, which is about the easiest switch you can put in a guitar. Down the way, it routes the bridge pickup output. No, it takes the input of the middle pickup and sticks it to the output of the bridge pickup, which means in the middle you get humbucker. So middle pickup, humbucker, which as you can hear that's the toebash because it's just super powerful. So that's these 2 pickups running in series as a humbucker, as opposed to, and if you're that's you in the middle position on the 5-way. If you go to position 4, you get these 2 as a humbucker plus this one in parallel. You just kind of mess about a wee bit with what you're doing. So position 5 stays the same when you're in humbucker mode. Position 1 is still the bridge pickup. Position 2 is just still. So that's kind of the only not perfect thing about this switch, really, I think, is the fact that in bridge position you've got the bridge, and then in position 2, which would normally be these 2, because I've been messing about with it, it's now still bridge, but you go into the middle, it's the bucker. Next one is bucker plus neck, and then the last one is just neck. So it's kind of, it's not a redundant part of the switch, but you know what I mean. There's two sounds that don't sound any different. So I'll turn this back on again, just a wee bit. Never mess about with it. So was a wee bit of a jam on Telecaster sounds. All for you this is normal position 4 now. So I mean, it is a different sound to. Not different. So outside 2. Toebash switch. These two plus the neck. Turn it off, and it's quite different. These are using the rat pedals, that's what we're using yesterday. So now I'm on a sort of lesser distortion, you can probably hear the difference a bit more. So single. Toebash. And outside 2 Telecaster Gilmore's mouse. Just neck on its own. That's me in toebash mode, but without. I'm enjoying saying the word toebash. It's great. Try saying it out loud for the first time in 30 years. When you're in the neck position, everything's just the same, still just the neck. But in the middle. toes today. Yeah, so that's my new switch. It's kind of stuff I've done before, but never in this format. One of the reasons, I've said this many times, one of the reasons I've got the problem, I much prefer push-pull pots, is you can tell by looking at it when it's the push, when you're in special mode, for example, you look at it and if it's been pulled up, then you can see that, oh, we're in coil split mode, you push it down. But the thing about the wee lever switches is, you've got to remember which way's on, which way's off. Whereas with a three-way switch, in the middle is off, so that's pretty easy to remember. And then, well, in this case, it's down for the Bucker mode and up for Gilmore mode. So, unfortunately, because it's a three-way, I can't actually hide this switch. I can do either one of these things. In fact, I could do this on, I'm pretty sure I've done it before, on 2 push-pull pots, 1 for each. I don't know what happens when you stick the both of them on at the same time. That's the thing with these 2 modes. They're mutually exclusive, so you can't be in Gilmore mode and in humbucker mode, which is, it's fine. You just end up duplicating stuff and getting confused anyway. So interesting, and can be fitted to, provided that your middle pickup is hum cancelling. So you would notice that if you held your guitar up to the amp in single coil mode with the volume up, sort of we have the fuzz pedal on there. So too much fuzz. Okay, it's still buzzing, but you hear the buzz changes when you put it into 2. That's single coil, both pickups on. That's how you can tell if it's hum cancelling or not. If it's noisier when you're on like position 1 and 3 than you are in position 2. So that you do need that, and then basically a 3-way switch. So this guitar was going to be, my pal was after an upside down neck strat, so I was going to use the Showmaster neck from the other day, put it onto this body, and it just doesn't fit quite easily, so I just thought I'll find another body and then maul it to turn it into the upside down strat, and just leave this as it is, because as it was a pretty good guitar. It plays fine. The only thing missing, it's missing the trem bar. I might even have one of them lying in my parts box. So instead of having 5 sounds, which it's still got, if you're in the middle, everything's just exactly as it was before. You've got an extra 2 with the Gilmore one, because the Gilmore one gives you the outside 2 together and all 3 on at the same time, so that's another 2, so that's you up to 5, 7. And then if you go down the way, you've got these 2 as a humbucker, and these 2 as a humbucker with the neck in parallel. The series thing, when you've got 2 pickups on a normal strat, they're in parallel. I've wired this in series to make a humbucker, so that's another 2, so you end up with 9 sounds out of one guitar. What I thought my pal was suggesting, Peter, do you not put a phase switch in it? And what's interesting is if I put a phase switch in it, normally you would put a phase switch in the middle pickup, which means in positions 2 and 4 you would get an out of phase sound, so it adds 2 phase sounds. But with this switch in and a phase, like on a push pull or another switch, and you did it in the middle, you would end up with an extra, well, you've got the extra 2 in normal modes. In Gilmore mode, it doesn't affect when you can use some, but when you've got all 3 on, you've got another sound there, so you've got a sound with all 3 pickups on in parallel with this one out of phase, so that's another extra sound. So instead of having 2 phase sounds, you get 3. And if you go into the Bucker mode, both the new sounds are using the middle, so you would have another 2 out of phase humbucker and out of phase humbucker plus neck. So maybe things getting a little bit confusing. And the original 2, so you'd end up with an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phase sounds. So with a phase switch on one of the push pulls, you would get 5 plus 9, so you end up with 14 sounds out of a standard strat without having to mod pickups or really add anything apart from these wee switches. And these wee switches are only a couple of quid each. That was kind of why I did it, just to make this a bit more sellable. So Upper Sale is the world's first toebash guitar. I can fit this to anything. I mean, it's working really well on this being a cheap Strat, but I did a sort of similar thing when I called it a Malco switch, and I tried to get it patented and all this. It kind of fell through though. It was a rotary switch that you replaced the tone control with. If you look up in my videos, you'll see it. Which was sort of same thing. This is just a refinement of it. So rather than losing a tone control, having a 4-position rotary, which things got a bit confusing. I needed a chart to explain what it was. It was what sound you were getting out of it. If you could bend your head around it, it was pretty simple, but it was dead hard to explain. Whereas this one isn't too bad. It's just a 3-way switch, and I love the fact in the middle you've just got a strap. Nothing new. Then you've got an option of up for Gilmore / Telecaster sounds. Not Gilmore / and Telecaster, I mean Gilmore Telecaster sounds, and down the way you've got toebash, humbucker, widest range bucker type thing. I mean, it's much, because if you stuck these two coils right, if you actually physically move the pickup to there, you would end up with pretty much a normal sounding humbucker. But because they're that far apart, you end up with a really fat woofer type sound. I mean, when you start using it with high gain mega distortion pedals, which I don't really have any of, it really punches it through the roof. That's why it's quite handy having the ability to go into position 4, where you get that, and then the single coil can bring back clear some of the mud. You still got all the sort of, but you've got like you've got a note that you can hear on the top of it. So good fun. And of the 9 sounds, if I was to rank them in order of bestness, on a normal Strat, my favourite 2 sounds are positions 2 and 4. Yeah, and then neck pickup. So you get these two on, neck pickup. That's the top 3 sounds in a Strat. Next down on this guitar, I would say is, I don't know, see that, okay, I'll do it the other way. The crappiest sounds, I think, on a standard Strat are bridge pickup on its own and middle pickup on its own, and those are still the 2 crappiest sounds in this guitar. The extra ones are all better than that, I think. It just depends how you look at it. So it's like, in order of, I've created an extra 4 sounds, and 4 of them are better than 2 of the original sounds, and possibly as good or better, I don't know, just to your taste, whether they're better than any of the other 3 sounds you get on it. That may have sounded an awful lot confusing. So, rock on, and if you want this, drop me a line and I'll punt it on. Catch you later.